Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. Welcome back. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As we've been doing for quite some time, we're going to start off this program with the salute to the United States by the singing of the United States National Anthem. I would ask everybody right now to please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. We will appreciate these men for doing this for us. We appreciate all of our armed forces men and women around the globe, wherever they might be. We also appreciate our men and women in the armed services of other countries who are our allies. We love and appreciate them for helping the United States maintain peace around the world, or a relative peace around the world. I want to thank all of them for what they do to help protect our country and theirs as well. May they all return home to their families after their tours of duty end. God bless you all, ladies and gentlemen. We love you all. It's not just our Corps. It's everybody's. It's everybody's. God bless you all. Thank you for your service. Now, folks, we have a lot to talk about tonight. A lot to talk about. Now, before I get started, I want to bring up the map. Again, I'm going to use the United States Geological Survey map. Okay? Now, I'm going to zoom in on this map and show you what we're talking about here. I would like you all to stand by until I bring this up. Many of you live up in this area. Okay? Not the Pacific Northwest, but the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone. Okay? We talked about this earlier. Notice the earthquakes now, they're rapidly increasing. I said about an hour or so ago that we had over 100 earthquakes, and we do. Now there's far more than that. The United States Geological Survey is only showing part of these. Okay? They're only showing part of these. Now I want to go back and reference an earthquake that happened quite some time ago. Okay? July 4th. July 4th, 2019, what happened? We had an earthquake just like this. Almost the same magnitude over in Ridgecrest. Prior to this earthquake, we had tons and tons of foreshocks, and rapidly, within 2 hours, we had 300 aftershocks. I don't think we have quite that many. It might be approaching that. But again, the USGS never, ever shows all the facts. Never show all the earthquakes. Heaven forbid. This agency is full of nothing but liars. Liars and cheats. Now, I hate saying that, because I once revered these people. When I was in college going for my degree, I envied these people. I wanted to become like them. But this agency has a lot to be desired. A lot to be desired. This agency does nothing but lie to the people of the world. They even say they don't cover all the earthquakes around the world. What a joke. What a joke. The preeminent seismic agency doesn't even report all the earthquakes around the world. Unreal. Uncaught picking real. This earthquake this morning occurred at approximately 11:04 a.m. Pacific time. People said the earth swayed back and forth in a northern region. It swayed back and forth in a south to north area. Okay? Rocked back and forth. Northern California. This earthquake occurred on the Gorda Escarpment. On the Gorda Escarpment, about 100 miles west of Petrolia, California. Now, what happened? I'm going to take you through almost step by step what happened. First, I want to tell you that there was a tsunami warning put out. But the tsunami warning only lasted a few minutes. The tsunami warning was quickly canceled. Quickly canceled. Now, I'm going to leave this map just for a few minutes. I want to show you what exactly happened. Okay? Let me take this map down for just a minute. I'm going to bring up the tsunami buoy map. Okay? This is a tsunami buoy map. You can find this at Tsunami.gov. Tsunami.gov. Now, I'm going to enlarge this for you so you can see exactly what we're talking about. You can see the active buoy flashing here, just off the northern coast of California. This buoy is located just south of the Gorda Escarpment. The Gorda Escarpment is where this earthquake occurred. This buoy is still in active mode because it's still flashing. Okay? What happened out here today? Literally, the earth moved. The bottom of the Pacific Ocean moved. That's why this buoy is in active mode today, right now. The water is still oscillating back and forth. This buoy was set in motion because the earth moved. The bottom of the ocean moved. It's still moving. As you can see from that map that I just showed you, there are many, many more earthquakes than there were here earlier. And the tsunami buoy still is in motion. The earth is moving. The earthquake is still rocking. We will continue to see earthquakes happen here for days, weeks, and months. After an earthquake of this magnitude, we can typically see earth movement for years. Years, ladies and gentlemen, years. I'm promising you that. Years. Why am I saying that? Because every earthquake that we've ever shown here during our programs, every earthquake like this generates aftershocks for days, weeks, months, and even years after that. Okay? Let me take down my mug here. I want you to see this map completely. It's going to continue. During this brief part of our program, you may see USGS add earthquakes. I hope they do. I hope they do. I don't trust them. After this main earthquake happened, it came out first as a 6.6 earthquake, a very strong 6.6 earthquake. 6.0, 6.9 are considered very strong earthquakes. 6.0, 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. That's exactly what this earthquake fell into. But within minutes, they upgraded to 6.8, 7.0, and then 7.2, 7.3. Someone's asking, why is this buoy flashing? It's because the bottom of the ocean moved. It moved in a vertical fashion. One part of the ocean floor dropped, the other part of the ocean floor rose. This earthquake was a strike-slip earthquake, which means the fault moved. The fault moved. One part of the fault fell, and the other part of the fault rose. As a result of this very strong earthquake, the National Tsunami Warning Center issued a tsunami warning. When I was first told of this earthquake, I was out on the road. I had a couple things I needed to do with my wife. and we quickly returned home about 40 minutes after the original earthquake happened. I immediately started pulling information together. Richard Smith is here on the chat saying the EMSC, the European agency, the European Meteorological Seismic Agency, EMSC, the European Meteorological Seismic Agency, is plastered with aftershocks. These are not the only aftershocks that are on the map. USGS is not even touching it. But like I said, the National Tsunami Warning Center issued a tsunami warning, and minutes later it was canceled. The tsunami warning is canceled even now. It has not been revised. The tsunami warning is canceled for the coastal areas of California, Oregon, Canada, Alaska, Hawaii, and all areas of the Pacific Basin. Observations of tsunami activity, there's been none. No tsunami observations are available to report. Now, the National Tsunami Warning Center is asking everyone to not reoccupy hazard zones. Do not reoccupy hazard zones until local emergency officials indicate it is safe to do so. Now, I've not heard any emergency officials give the okay to return. I've not heard any emergency officials indicate that it's safe to return. If they have, I would ask you to abide by the emergency officials' advisories. Okay? In San Francisco Bay Area, someone was standing on a breakwater. A bunch of rocks that are arranged in a straight line outside the Bay Area, outside the San Francisco Bay. They were standing on the breakwater, and a wave knocked them off the breakwater into the water. That is why I'm asking everybody to abide by official advisories. Ravetta Vogt is asking, is this possibly a foreshock? I'm going to answer that with this simple warning right now. Every earthquake that happens has a 25% chance of being a foreshock. Again, every earthquake that occurs has a 25% chance of being a foreshock. It is possible that we could see a larger earthquake as a result of this earthquake. Do I believe that this earthquake could result in the Cascadia megathrust earthquake? I doubt it. I doubt it. The Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to occur up off the coast of Vancouver Island and Seattle-Tacoma, Washington. In the Cascadia subduction zone and Juan de Fuca region. The Cascadia subduction zone fault area and the Juan de Fuca fault area off the coast of Washington and Canada. Now, there have been no destructive tsunami waves recorded yet. There have been no destructive tsunami warnings or tsunamis recorded yet. No tsunami danger exists for the U.S. and Canadian West Coast. No tsunami danger exists for the U.S. West Coast, the British Columbia and Alaska West Coast as well. An earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 7.0, magnitude has occurred this morning after about 11:04 a.m. Pacific time near the coastline of Northern California on the Gorda Escarpment, which is a fault zone running east-west off the California coast. Based on all available data, the tsunami threat from this earthquake is now past. Based on all available data, there is no tsunami threat to Hawaii or any other areas of the Pacific Basin. All available data suggest there is no tsunami threat to Hawaii or anywhere else. Recommended actions from the Tsunami Warning Center. Remain observant and exercise normal caution near the ocean. Exercise normal caution near the ocean. Okay? I said that twice. Let me say it again. Exercise normal caution around the ocean. This is important. Eagle 74 said some sloshing swimming pools has occurred. It was weird to see. Eagle 74, let me show you a pool in Danville, California that sloshed. This is a 21-second video clip. I'm sorry, you're not going to see that right now. Let me reset this map so you'll see it. Okay, I set up my webcam here again, and this is where I'm going to show you this video from. I want to show you this. This is important. So watch this. This might be a little hard to see, but you can see the water sloshing around in this pool. Let me show it to you again. You can see vividly the water sloshing around in this pool. This pool belongs to a friend of mine's daughter. Rob 52, who is a dear friend of mine and also a moderator on this channel. His daughter sent the video to him, and he sent it to me so I could show it to you. Yes, water was sloshing around in pools all over Northern California. That was from Danville, California. Now, I fully expect that to continue. I honestly fully expect that to continue. Is somebody going to get hurt? I don't think so. I don't think that's where we're at right now. I honestly don't think that's where we're at. But if we have more seismic activity, you may see water sloshing around in pools for a while. You may even feel the ground move underneath your feet if the earthquake is large enough. Now, Richard Smith, one of my mods and also a dear friend of mine, said it is not a time to go fishing, surfing, or swimming in the ocean, for that matter, anything at all to do with the ocean. I agree. I totally agree. Eagle 74 is saying, yep, there's another one, Ron, that a lady posted with some pretty significant sloshing, water jumping out of the pool. Now, I want to talk to you for just a minute about water sloshing around the pool after an earthquake. And that earthquake occurred in San Diego County. back in about 1992. 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. We had a 5.9 earthquake. That morning, as I normally do, I like to sleep on the edge of the bed. Well, that morning, that 6.9 hit, or 5.9 earthquake hit. It was only a 5.9. It lifted me up off my bed and threw me off the bed. Threw me off the bed. I landed on the floor right beside my bed. Then, I looked up at my window above me. There was a plate glass window 4 feet wide, 3 feet tall. The glass was doing this number. It looked like the ocean waves moving. I'm going, holy crap, this is not a good place to be. With the glass moving like that, I thought it was going to pop out of the window. I jumped up out of there faster than you can think about it once I saw that glass move. I quickly threw on a pair of pants and grabbed a shirt. Back then, they told us the best place to be was at a doorway, standing in the door jamb of the doorway. Now they revise that. We don't want you standing in the door jamb of a doorway at all. Don't do that. Back then it was okay because that they said was a good place to be, because it's a great big piece of wood over your head in the rafters of your homes, whether it's apartments or any other kind of homes. Great big huge piece of wood above you that would allegedly protect you if something happened and the roof started coming apart. Now they say dive under a big piece of furniture, a desk or a table. Hold on to the legs and stay there until the shaking stops. Okay? Duck under the table or the heavy-duty desk. Duck, cover your body underneath that table or desk and hold on. Duck, cover, and hold on until the shaking stops. That's the proper way to do it. Now, I ran to the doorway. I finished putting my shirt on. I slipped my shoes on as I ran to the doorway. Then I looked out into my living room. Pieces of my ceiling were falling onto the floor. The earth was still shaking. I'm going, this isn't good. I don't want to get trapped in my apartment. So I ran across to the front door and stood in that door jamb there. Not a good idea, because my neighbor upstairs had a concrete landing, and pieces of that concrete landing were landing on my porch. So I dove out into the courtyard away from the building. I dove out into the courtyard away from the building and stood out there, away from any trees, any building, or anything else that would fall on me. Then my sweet neighbor from upstairs ran out of her apartment, down the stairs, and another gentleman from another building who was an old Indian man. He was about 70, 80 years old. He ran over to me and grabbed me and was actually squeezing the life out of my body. He was scared and shaking. My neighbor ran out of her apartment from upstairs, ran down the stairs, and grabbed hold of me as well. Both of them literally squeezing the life out of me. Then the earth was still shaking. I heard water sloshing. I realized we had a pool right next to my building. I looked over there and water was coming out of my building, or not coming out of the building, but coming out of the pool. Just like we see waves in the ocean. I saw waves coming out of the pool like that. Water sloshing. That was only a 5.9 earthquake. Today here in Northern California, we had a 7.1, 7.2 earthquake. I'm telling you, it was strong. It was very strong. People felt it south of San Francisco. There were reports coming out of places south of San Francisco. As far north as up in Oregon. This was a big quake. Now, I want to show you something else here. This was also a very shallow quake. A very shallow quake. This was 0.6 kilometers deep. 1,968 feet deep. 1,968.5 feet deep. A very shallow earthquake. That is one of the reasons that we had so much shaking going on. A very shallow earthquake. That is also one of the other reasons that we had the seafloor move that causes the buoy to move in the water like it is doing now. A very shallow earthquake. Let me show you something else. Again, the United States Geological Survey said it was a 7.0 earthquake. Guess what? It's a bit larger than that. This is the back seismologist study page on the U.S. Geological Survey in regards to this earthquake. They're showing 3 different earthquakes here. They're showing a 7.03 earthquake with 9 stations reporting. But look, it says no station details contributed, meaning they are not publishing the seismograph information. They do not want us to know what they're really seeing. They don't want us to know what really happened here. The second one they have listed here shows it to be a 6.92 magnitude earthquake with 195 stations reporting. The third earthquake shows it to be a 6.62 earthquake, which it was not. It was also not a 6.92, however. Notice they have station details here. All you have to do is click on that plus sign over there. If you go to the back seismologist study page, all you have to do is click on that plus sign to see the magnitudes that the seismographs recorded. Well, I went there. There are several hundred seismic stations reported. Several hundred seismographs recorded this earthquake. But the United States Geological Survey is only showing about 10 seismographs. They're even showing 7.0 or larger. There are only 10 seismographs showing 7.0 magnitude or larger. If that's the case, why are they not reporting this earthquake as smaller than it is? Or smaller than they're showing now? That's because it was actually a larger quake. It was actually a lot larger than a 6.92 that they're showing here. But they've altered the details. They have altered the information. I went through the entire recording there that they made. Only 10 seismographs are reporting 7.0 or larger quakes. All the rest of the several hundred, there's at least 250 seismographs recording this earthquake, and only 10 showing 7.2 or larger quakes. They've altered the information purposely so they don't have to take responsibility for anything that happens. This is the agency that I used to revere. This is the agency that I used to revere. And they falsified the data. Now, before I continue this, I used to be a federal police officer working for the federal government. If I falsified a report, if I even falsified one report, they would have fired my sorry butt and put me in jail. They would have fired me and put me in jail. But guess what? USGS and other parts of the government of the United States falsify reports and documents every day. And USGS does it all the time. Does it all the time. I just showed you where the USGS shows 3 different earthquakes. One shows it to be at least a 7.0 plus. The other 2 show less than 7.0. But only data for the 6.9 something shows information. Typical. Typical. Guys, I can't say how disappointed I am in this agency. The agency that I once revered. Let me continue on here. Again, this 7.0/7.3 magnitude earthquake occurred off the coastline, about 100 miles off the coastline of Petrolia, California, on the Gorda Escarpment, which is an earthquake fault running east-west off the California coast, at about 10:44 a.m. this morning, Pacific time, generating a now discontinued tsunami warning that stretched from southern Oregon to San Francisco. Earthquakes can trigger tsunamis when they displace the seafloor. They displace the seafloor. Let's talk about that. I want to show you this. I want to show you what displacement is. Again, this was a strike-slip earthquake. A strike-slip earthquake, meaning the seafloor went down like this, and the other part of the seafloor rose. What happens when that happens? When one part of the seafloor goes down, water from the ocean, from the seashore, runs out to fill that void. Water runs away from the shoreline out to fill that void where the seafloor dropped. That's what happened here today. That's what happened. Okay? That's why we still have a tsunami buoy, effectively, still going off along the coastline. Okay? Now, like I said, earthquakes can trigger tsunamis when they displace the seafloor, causing waves that can rush out towards shore. When the water rushes away from the shoreline, It goes to fill that void. When it reaches that void, it bounces off the seafloor and goes back out to the shoreline. And most of the time, it will result in a huge tsunami wave. A huge tsunami wave. It didn't happen this time. The tsunami warning indicates a significant tsunami inundation and coastal floor flooding. Coastal floor flooding could be expected based on the preliminary information. That's what a tsunami warning is, preliminary information. Harold Tobin from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Interesting. PNSN, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, figured into this. Okay? He said that this temblor was a strike-slip fault earthquake. Strike-slip. Two plates moving just like this. Two plates moving just like this. Strike-slip. Like I said, one part of the ocean floor fell, causing that ocean floor to move, causing that buoy also to move. Okay? The two plates slid past each other, causing the shaking. In this case, this is the exact point where the Cascadia subduction zone ends and meets with the Gorda Escarpment. This earthquake was just west of the Cascadia subduction zone, the earthquake fault, and was also west of the San Andreas fault. West of the San Andreas fault. Let me take down my banner again and let's put up the USGS map here. Okay? See where the Cascadia subduction zone goes north here? There's an earthquake right on the Cascadia subduction zone, right there. The Gorda Escarpment is where you see the majority of the earthquakes here. The Cascadia subduction zone meets up with the Gorda Escarpment and the San Andreas Fault. You can see the San Andreas Fault curve upwards towards the triple junction, where all three faults meet. The Cascadia subduction zone, the San Andreas Fault, and the Gorda Escarpment here. This is the most seismically active place in Northern California. The most seismically active place in Northern California. The most seismically active place south of San Francisco is where? Can anybody tell me where that is? It's south of San Francisco. It's south of Monterey Bay. It's south of the Pinnacles. It's the California and the United States earthquake capital. It has more earthquakes there than anywhere else. But in this particular place, this is the most seismically active place in Northern California. It's been that way for decades. This is not a surprise to get an earthquake of this magnitude here. Now if you look northeast from this location where this earthquake hit today, on the eastern side of the Cascadia subduction zone. 2 years ago, there was a 6.8 earthquake. A 6.8 earthquake. At least that's what USGS tried to pass it off on. Okay? You can see 3 other earthquakes in that area. where that alleged 6.8 happened. At the time, I took a lot of time, hours, analyzing where that earthquake hit. They said it was a 6.8. It was actually a 7.4 earthquake. A major 7.4 earthquake. Stronger than this one here today. But it hit closer to land over here in Northern California. It caused a lot of damage in Petrolia, Ferndale, Rio, California, and one other place. A lot of damage. This earthquake today also caused damage that we're going to talk about. But again, it's not very surprising that earthquakes of this magnitude occur here. There have been 8 earthquakes larger than this in this area during the last 100 years. This earthquake did not take place on the Cascadia subduction zone. But as you can see, there is an aftershock on the Cascadia subduction zone. This earthquake did not take place on the Cascadia subduction zone itself, and it is not likely to increase the risk of an earthquake like that magnitude on the Cascadia subduction zone. Yet. Demon Catman, take your time. I hope you can charge up your phone back to where it was. Thank you for being here, Dean. We appreciate you very much. Now, this quake occurred near the sparsely populated northern coast of California, just offshore off the San Andreas Fault on the Gorda Escarpment. The San Andreas Fault runs along the coastline south to just south of San Francisco. Then the San Andreas Fault starts running more inland all the way down through California. This earthquake triggered the United States Geological Survey's ShakeAlert application. The ShakeAlert application. Many of you people may have heard of it. The ShakeAlert. It is an early warning system, warning you that an earthquake is about to occur. But so far, ShakeAlert only gives you seconds warning. The app only gives you seconds warning before the earthquake occurs. Okay? This ShakeAlert sends out warnings of big earthquakes, just like today. This warning sends warnings to people's cell phones a few seconds before the earthquake hits. Now, it looks like people close to this area got several seconds advance notice. Woohoo! Several seconds advance notice. That's not very long. Demon Catman says he's managed to get back on with his phone. Thanks, Dean. God bless you. Richard Smith continues to put up earthquakes on the Cascadia subduction zone, the Gorda Escarpment, and out in the ocean waters off Petrolia, California, that are still occurring. Aftershocks. By 12:30 today, little more than an hour after the earthquake hit, this area experienced 13 different aftershocks, ranging in size from 6.8 down to 3.1. The USBS initially estimated that more than 150,000 people might have been exposed to the earthquake shaking between north of Fort Bragg to Eureka, California. Now, one of our own has a brother in Eureka, California. He said his house shook for a long time after this quake hit. And then it was upgraded to a 7.1 earthquake. A lot of other aftershocks keep hitting. Yet on the map, USGS continues to show it as 7.0. This quake was felt all over Northern California. Reports keep coming in, and more reports even from Redding, California. Humboldt, California is the county closest to the epicenter. No injuries or fatalities have been reported. They heard of broken water mains, broken natural gas lines, broken windows and houses off their foundations. Houses off their foundations, guys. That takes a lot of shaking. That takes a lot of movement. And yet this earthquake was offshore, approximately 100 miles offshore. And yet, homes and businesses were shaken off their foundations. Over 10,000 people were without power in Humboldt County alone, according to State Senator Mike McGuire. This earthquake is one of at least 17 events that have rattled Humboldt County today. 17 events that have rattled Humboldt County today. At least 4 events were recorded in the Ferndale area. Ferndale is just north of Petrolia, with high activity observed around the town of Petrolia, where at least 10 aftershocks ranging from 3.1 to 4.2 were reported. Good old California Governor Newsom rallied into the fact. Newsom told reporters today that he signed an emergency declaration to help with the response to the quake. He wants to make sure that people can respond. That's great. Thank you, Governor Newsom. Newsom said it's another reminder of the state of California that we live in, and the state of mind that we need to bring to our day-to-day reality here in the state. In terms of being prepared for earthquakes, I just want to thank everybody, particularly our local law enforcement, our law enforcement agencies, for their outstanding work and working through the protocols as quickly and efficiently as they have. Another agency, the good old USGS. Christine Goulet, who's the director for Earthquake Science Center based in Los Angeles, said that the United States Geological Survey analysis suggests that there is about a 5% chance that an earthquake greater or larger than this magnitude 6.0 could rupture within the next week in the same area. There's about a 5% chance that another magnitude 6.0 earthquake could rupture within the next week in this same area. Again, I want to state this. There is a chance, a 25% chance, that this earthquake is a what? A foreshock. And yet, there is a chance, a 5% chance, that this person from USGS says that there could be a greater, larger magnitude earthquake than this. Interesting. Because she doesn't know what she's talking about. Linda Covington is asking, what is a population of Petrolia? Petrolia, Petrolia. Let me look here really quick. I haven't checked that lately. Hold on. There are 266 residents in Petrolia with a median age of 62 years or older. The average age of a person in Petrolia, California is 62.2 years old. 49% of those are males. 50.75 are females. %93 of those are U.S. citizens living in Petrolia, California. My buddy Al Sanchez is here in the chat. Thank you very much, Ron, for the detail you just reported on that 7+ earthquake earlier. He said he asked me about those 6 stations, and he said I thoroughly satisfied his suspicion. Thank you for your continued effort. Thank you, Al, for helping me and reminding me what's important to talk about. In a place called Arcata, California, Arcata, California, just under 60 miles from Petrolia, a 25-year-old man, Jared Mitchell, was having an early lunch in his apartment when he felt a jolt. He said it wasn't that big of a shake. It was not a violent shake. He said his apartment was swaying back and forth for a bit. He said it was kind of scary, like he was on a raft in the middle of the sea. Mr. Mitchell said he hasn't seen any apparent damage in town so far. He said, "We're okay now." Following this earthquake, like I said, we can still have numerous fairly large aftershocks. As time goes by, these aftershocks will become smaller and less frequent, but they still will happen. Previously, a tsunami warning advised a tsunami could arrive along the coastline near Fort Bragg about 11:10 a.m., local time, Pacific time, and could move along the coast of Northern California and Southern Oregon, arriving in San Francisco by 12:10 p.m. Pacific time. Residents within the zone stretching from Davenport, California, northwest of Santa Cruz, to the Douglas County line in Oregon were urged to move off the water and off the beaches and evacuate inland beyond tsunami hazard zones. Now, I'm also going to tell you this. I think by now, I don't think we're going to have a tsunami tonight. Only if we have a bigger earthquake than what we had. Only if we have a larger earthquake than what occurred today will we have a tsunami. But it is possible. It is possible. If you're anywhere near the shoreline when another earthquake like this happens, you need to move out of the water, off the beach, and away from harbors, marinas, and breakwaters, away from bays and inlets. Repeated coastal flooding is possible as waves arrive on shore and as the waves move inland. As the wave water moves inland, guys, yes, the water will move over the land once it hits the shoreline. And then it will drain back into the ocean like this. That's where you really don't want to be anywhere near the water, because it will pull you out to sea. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be there, guys. Now, there were initial reports of evacuations going on in and around San Francisco, including evacuations of the San Francisco Zoo. But that has been canceled. Now, I want to talk about just how big this earthquake was. Let's take, for example, this earthquake as being a 7.0. And I believe it was much larger than that. Possibly as large as a 7.3 quake. Let's talk about magnitude. When I refer to earthquakes, I refer to it as such and such a magnitude. A number, then magnitude. A magnitude is a measurement of the strength of the quake. Officially, this is called the moment magnitude scale. It's a logarithmic scale, meaning each number is 10 times as strong as the one before it. So a 7.0 is 20 times stronger than a 5.0. Let's talk Turkey here for a minute. A 2.0, 2.5 earthquake is generally not felt. Minor earthquake. Yes, we can have shaking less than that. A 1.0 to a 1.9 are considered to be tremors. There is shaking less than that. They're called microquakes. 0.1 to 0.9 are called microquakes. 1.0 to 1.9 are tremors. 2.0 to 2.9 are considered to be minor earthquakes. 3.0 to 3.9 are considered to be small earthquakes. Now, let me go on. But be advised, now as of this year, the United States BS agency is calling 4.0 to 4.9 earthquakes light earthquakes. I'm going to repeat this as I have said before now. As I said before earlier today even. 4.0 to 4.9 are moderate earthquakes, regardless of what this agency wants to call them. 4.0, 4.9s can cause moderate damage. Not light damage, but moderate damage. I've seen major damage in Los Angeles after a 4.5 earthquake. So don't let them buffalo you to believe that a 4.0 earthquake is light. It's not. USBS is also calling a 5.0 to a 5.9 a moderate quake. Those are large quakes. 5.0 to 5.9 are considered to be large earthquakes. They always have been until this year, when the United States Geological Survey decides to downgrade everything to try to make people to believe that nothing's really going on. Notice where we're going with this. They don't want anybody to know what's actually happening. They never do. The politicians are telling the managers of the agency what to do because the politicians want to stay in power. The politicians want to stay in power. If the people really knew what's going on, they'd move out of the area, away from the shoreline, away from the beach. Because what is going to happen? If everybody moved like they would if they knew what's going on. Nobody'd buy anything over there near the shoreline. All those stores and shops would close because they had no business. They weren't making money. If the people aren't there, they're not going to be paying taxes. If the stores aren't making any money, they're not going to pay taxes either. If nobody's living there, nobody's working there, the cities and the counties are going to dry up. Who's going to repair the roads? Who's going to pay for trash? Who's going to pay to keep the power on? Lights are going to go out, aren't they? If the cities and the counties aren't there, who's going to employ the politicians? No one. So the politicians want everybody to stay. They don't give a flying rat's butt about you or me. They want to make their money. So they're telling the USBS to feed us full of bull. That's what's actually happening. Incredible. So 5.0, 5.9 are called large earthquakes. Those large earthquakes create a large amount of damage, a great amount of damage. When this earthquake originally hit, they called it a 6.6 earthquake. 6.0, 6.9 earthquakes are very strong earthquakes, causing major damage. 7.0, 7.9 are also major earthquakes. 8.0 to 10.0 are major earthquakes, causing major damage. Very serious major damage. Do you understand where I'm going with this? I hope you do. I hope you do. Major damage. These earthquakes can cause major damage and destroy communities. Unreal. Unreal. Do you understand what we're talking about? I hope so. What you're seeing here off the coast of Petrolia, California today is just the beginning. During the coming days, they're going to take earthquakes off the map and replace them with a handful of quakes. And then within a day or two, they're not going to show any quakes, even though they're happening still. Be aware of that. Be aware of it. USBS are nothing but liars. Okay? Arnold Smith is here talking about the first hurricane in North Carolina. It wasn't the first hurricane hit North Carolina. Other hurricanes have hit the southern coast of the East Coast. Other hurricanes have gone into Virginia and Washington, D.C. But this earthquake was the first to occur over land. The first hurricane to go over land. What do we said about hurricanes when they hit land? When they're over the water, they gain strength. They remain strong as long as they're over the water. Well, guess what? This hurricane that hit North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, and Florida 2 months ago was a manufactured hurricane. A manufactured hurricane, guys. It came over land and it seemed to strengthen. By the time it got to North Carolina, it had winds of 65 to 70 miles an hour. 65 to 70 miles an hour. It destroyed a lot of property. It destroyed people's lives. People have died. They have covered up the number of deaths here in North Carolina. They're not even talking about it anymore. And FEMA in North Carolina are not even talking about it. They're not showing any numbers. Not showing any numbers. Like I said about this earthquake today, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a document calling for an state of emergency to be declared in Northern California to assist first responders in doing their jobs. It's not a major disaster area at all. I'm glad that Newsom did sign that order. If there's any money left over in FEMA to give anybody in California or Oregon any money for damages as a result of this earthquake. There's been no major damage or anything indicating there's been any kind of loss of life as a result of this earthquake. Houses have fallen off their foundations. Business structures as well. There has been some damage. But hopefully, some people will be able to get money to rebuild. Hopefully. Again, I want to tell you this. Here in North Carolina, there are still people living in tents. One of our EMA family sent us some money, sent us a donation, and asked for half of that to go to hurricane relief here in North Carolina. I gave it to Mercury One, Glenn Beck's charity, who is still working here in North Carolina, helping people. And they assured me that the money would go to people that needed it. Now, if you want to do anything to help people here in North Carolina, 2 organizations. It's a Christmas season. 2 organizations are still helping the people in North Carolina. Samaritan's Purse, which is Billy Graham's charity organization. You can donate to Samaritan's Purse through their website. You can also donate through Mercury One, who is also continuing to help out. I don't recommend you send anything to the Red Cross. Yes, the Red Cross does good work, but they pay their people first. They pay their people first, and your money probably won't get to the people that need it. From what I hear, the Amish are still building homes, small, tiny homes, to get people out of the cold. We hope that continues. I'm going to call tomorrow local agency here in Burke County that has also been supplying people's clothes and stuff like that from local residents. And Burke County's been taking those clothes and other items up the hill for use by the residents of Western North Carolina. God bless them all. God bless them all. Brothers and sisters, I appreciate each one of you. I love you. I spend a lot of time every day putting these programs together to show you exactly what is happening, because I believe it's necessary. Everybody needs to know what's going on. That way we can help each other. Earthquakes are not just limited to places like this. Earthquakes can happen anywhere. Today in southwestern Texas, we still have swarms of earthquakes. We still have a small swarm in south central Utah. We still have swarms of earthquakes in southern California. They're continuing. The volcanoes up in the Pacific Northwest, from southern Canada all the way down to Mount Lassen and Mount Shasta in northern California, are still moving. At some point in time, we're going to see a volcanic eruption, probably either Mount Rainier or Mount St. Helens, probably within the next year. I think it might happen even before that. I have reason to believe it will. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? We're monitoring it. We're going to continue monitoring it. so that people living anywhere near those volcanoes get the help they need to get the heck out of Dodge before it happens, or at least be able to get some help to prepare their family for anything that might happen. We continue to talk about it every day. We're going to continue now. We're getting ready for big earthquakes and other things are going to happen. Yes, I still believe it's going to happen. Folks, let's help each other. Let's help each other. Arnold, I'll check my email as soon as I get off the show. Thank you. Julie Jo says she's so disturbed by the events and can't text her concerns. Julie Jo, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. My advice to all of you is to prepare. We've given you a lot of preparedness information during the past weeks and months and years. Tomorrow night we're going to talk about earthquake preparedness. Tomorrow is Preparedness Friday. We're going to talk about earthquake preparedness. Please be here to help us and bring your questions to our channel tomorrow night so we can talk about earthquake preparedness. And if anything else happens today or tomorrow, we'll be here to talk to you and give you more information so you have that information to prepare you and your families. Now, before I leave here tonight, I'm going to say as I did yesterday, we need to pray for our nation, not just the United States or Canada. Yes, we need to pray for our nations here, but our nations overseas as well. We need to pray for our leaders. We need to pray for our fellow man, our neighbors and friends. We need to pray for our countries so we will survive what's going on. Because there's evil people out there that want to destroy us. And they're not going to take no for an answer. We need to have hope. We need to have hope. No matter what kind of darkness we find ourselves in, or how we came to be there is always hope. Because when we sit in darkness, the Lord shall be a light unto us. Micah chapter 7 verse 8. All we have to do is ask. Throughout the New Testament, the Lord tells us to knock and it shall be open. Go to the door and knock. Prayer, guys. Prayer. Prayer can open doors. Prayer can open doors. Let's talk about God's plan for us. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. To make complete, safe and sound. Plans. God's plans are perfect and yet unknown to us. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, to make sound, safe, and complete, and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope. God creates beauty from ashes. Isaiah chapter 65 verse 5. Fantasy Dog, thank you for that $10 super chat. I love you as well. Fantasy Dog says, love you, Ron, and this family. Thank you for that super chat. I just gave you an EMA sticker on your super chat. Thank you so much. I'm also going to give you a thumbs up. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of your donations, whether they're super chats or whether you donate to our PayPal or our Venmo. Those addresses, locations, are right below this video that you're watching tonight, in the top of our program description. Our address is going across the top of the program, or the bottom of the program today. Our address. Let me move my picture up here a little bit, my webcam. Our address is 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code here is 28655. Carol and I would love to see cards and letters, especially here at Christmas time. You can put a donation inside your card or your letter. We would love to hear from you. My wife loves cards and letters, and so do I. George Rashad from California is here. George, good to see you, my friend. He put up a scripture, Ephesians 6:11. Put on the full armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. One of my favorite scriptures. One of my favorite scriptures. I love that scripture. Put on the full armor of God. Continue here in Jeremiah. The Lord wants to prosper us, not to harm us. He has plans to give you hope and a future. We will be able to be with Him, taken care of in every possible way. The Lord loves us, and we want to love Him as well. We need to pray and continue to pray. Prayer can solve a lot of evil ways. Prayer can keep our nation strong. Whenever there have been wars around this world, any time during the time the Lord walked this earth, or any other time before He came to this earth, the Lord destroyed people. He destroyed the world by flood. What happened to people at the time of the Tower of Babel? He dispersed people. He made sure the people could not even speak the same language. He confused languages. He said that if there's just but one righteous person in the town, the city, He will spare the city. One righteous person. Are you one of those righteous people? I'm asking. Fantasy Dog says he will always support us here. Thank you, I appreciate that. He says we are awesome people. Him and Carol are like family. You are our family, Fantasy Dog. You are our family, and we love you. But prayer will help us, but we need to remember God's plan right there. Remember God's plan for us. And then, remember prayer. Never forget this. Nothing is more powerful than prayer. Nothing is stronger than faith. Nothing is greater than God. Amen. Brothers and sisters, I care for you. I love you. I love the Lord. And I tell you every night when we sign off that the Lord loves you. He loves each of us. And I will forever be on this channel to tell you that, to show you that, because I have a testimony, a strong testimony of Jesus Christ. I have a strong testimony of Jesus Christ. He lives. He lives who once was dead. He lives, my ever-living head. I love him. I will honor Jesus Christ. And I'm looking forward to the day that I can join him and look up into his eyes and see the wounds in his hand and in his feet. And I will know no more then than I know now that he is our Savior the Lord. We are in the Christmas season. We are in the Christmas season. Brothers and sisters, I told you before Thanksgiving, I consider Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's as my trilogy of holidays. Thanksgiving, to remember to give thanks for what we have. Christmas. Christmas is not just to get or receive or give gifts. Christmas is to remember Jesus Christ, his birth, and his gift to us of life. Easter is his gift to us, to have eternal life, to be able to return to him. Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, the trilogy of holidays. New Year's to set new goals for the new year. New goals of what we're going to do to better ourselves, to help ourselves spiritually, physically, and mentally. My trilogy of holidays. I hope you will also get something from that and make your trilogy of holidays special. Make this trilogy of holidays special for you and your family. May God bless you. May God bless and keep you and hold you even in the palms of his hands. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. Brothers and sisters, let's see you tomorrow. If anything else happens tonight, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, we'll see you between 6 and 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Have a good night. As I said, God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everyone. Much love. See you soon.